Alright, part 170, 178, 345, 11, tank outlets. General knowledge, UV the section loading and unloading outlet means any of the opening of the cargo tank will be done loading and unloading landing with a distinguish from outlets of the manhole cover the vents of the vapor recovery device. The similar closure cargo tank outlet closures associated piping must be protected in accordance with 178 345A. Each cargo tank loading and unloading outlet must be equipped with an internal self-closing stop valve, alternatively with external stop valve located as close as practical to the cargo tank wall. Each cargo tank loading unloading outlet must be in accordance with the following provisions. Each loading unloading outlet must be fitted with a self-closing system capable of closing all such outlets with emergency within 30 seconds of the actuation. During normal operation, outlets may be closed manually. Self-closing system must be designed according with the system. Each closing system must include remotely actuated, meaning the closure located no more than 10 feet from the loading and unloading outlet, where the vehicle allows on the end of the cargo tank farthest away from the loading and unloading out of the actuating mechanism must be in corrosion resistant. The fact of the types of the environmental weather with accidental damage material transportation loading and unloading remains clearly with the cable tin line. For more required part 1 through 3 subchapter the middle of pyrophoric acidizing division to one poison liquid material remote meaning the closure of the main cable but which self-closing system is normally activated must be located so that practical loading the system the temperature over 10 degrees Fahrenheit. In addition, the outlet of the cargo tank must be capable of being remotely manufactured mechanically. The bottom loading outlets with the discharge landing into the cargo tank of the early mixed internal piping above the mix the maximum liquid level of the cargo tank of the outlet equipped with a self-closing system aligning loading unloading outlet can be the internal self-closing above the end of the internal above which the self-closing system must be fitted with another stop valve. Closure at the end of such correctly outlet loading might be with the valve that close. It is closed. Start to go. The outlet extended beyond the close must be with another stop valve closure in the connection. 178 gauging device. Car takes up covered into the body must be with the device with the maximum level with 0.5% minimum capacity made by volume or with gauge glass or permitted. 73 pressure leakage. Each cargo tank must be pressure leakage test in accordance with section 178 346 534 and 545 just to take the cargo compartment has hydrosaline and each cargo multiple motor vehicles must be tested by the going into the pressure relief the venting device is rated less than the test pressure during the devices are during the test device must be running out clear other actual of the drain device which map providing the detection leak of the device drain device must be removed immediately after the cargo tank fluid must be available over the liquid having similar with the cargo must be pressurized specification pressure must be gauged at the top of the cargo pressure during the time the change specifically bulging other fact method test must be even with hydraulic however the testing hydraulic testing there were the suitable safe products take personal with the air covered during the cargo must be right air and air gap must be fed by around 1/2 the pressure after pressure must be increasing steps approximately 1/10 of the test pressure. Pressure must be held at least 5 minutes of the pressure must be inspection must be maintained the entire pressure with the inspect leak. The inspection method is the coating the all joints and fitting with the solution with soap, the water, other equally extensive method. Leakage check of the cargo tank with the width and all accessories place must be tested with the maximum work pressure for the pressure at least 5 minutes in cargo tank with the lead of the bulge with the incentive must be rejected. The cargo tank must be super repaired. Retested successfully prior to being returned. The server tested that the annual repair must be the same method of the test on the cargo take the original rejected. 178 14 manufacturer the carton or be led in sanction for the Apple location 464 7 412 requirements of the Apple Section A of the ASME Code of the certification shall be accompanied by the cargo tank as prescribed in B and C with this section by the preparing certificate prescribed in 178 through 4515 metal plate prescribed by the paragraph B, C, D, and E of this section must be permanently attached to the cargo integral supporting structure, bracing, welding, other components of the plates. Must take the left side of the wheel near front. The cargo tank front must be with a multi-cargo tank motor vehicle in a place readily accessible for the inspection. Places must be permanently marked in English by stamp. Same about the other manufacturer within 60 days have the least 60 days have the information required and B and C with this section may become in mind on this. So once again, nameplate each cargo tank have the corrosion resistant nameplate attached to the following information. The information about the make most marked on the come with parallel code speed classification x replayable specification the variable specification is replaced with first two variable specification play original test date month year to the next one or mature and it's costing the code design and temperature for the temperature Fahrenheit some Fahrenheit non-classic water and passing gas the land the maximum land density in the per pound per gallon material specification number shelf of the material Y triple access triple Y is replaced with the LA designation and triple access for the alloy type material specification number head plus the YYY explain asterisk YY is replaced by allowable type LA type well material minimum job and minimum gel things minimum gel like different areas of the 10 type at the bottom inches minimum thickness of that thickness manufacturer shelf like type on the inches of what they do provide with the corrosion everything that the head inches will require to leave the corrosion lines like exposure to the air within square feet specification cargo tank motor with additional corrosion cells specification tabling information parent that abbreviation may use card motor vehicle manufacturer cargo tank motor certificate if a different certificate date manufacturer cargo tank date manufacturer month year from later maximum rate maximum line material if applicable heating system design pressure and PSI gauge if applicable heating system design temperature within degrees Fahrenheit if applicable multi-cargo tank motor vehicle for more multi-cargo tank motor vehicles having having all of its cargo tank with the motor not separated with paragraph B and C with this section must be combined specification plate with when separated by a void each of the cargo tank must be individually named plate with the required paragraph B with this section also if the cargo tank has been made with the same manufacturer with the same materials manufacturer thickness minimum thickness into the same specification cargo tank motor vehicle having combined nameplate specification plate with only one plate issue the plate must be visibly not covered in the installation required information must be listed on the plate for the front or the rear and ordered for the corresponding cargo tank location. Variable specification cargo tank and variable specification cargo tank may have the corrosion resistant metal with the very specification plate with attached for the mounting of the variable specimen. The specification plate must be such that only the plate identified with the ample specification of the tank is being operated legible. The following information must include the parenthetical abbreviation is authorized, and then it goes to and then if no change is no change for the information. The specification plate is required letter NC with the following the rate with the equipped required if the cargo tank is not so the equipped with the word none of them must be inserted the words must be those parts must be to be changed and added to stamp with appropriate MC or dot specification mark. Alterations must be made in order for the tank to modify with the specification of them must clearly indicate the minute manufacturer of the variable specification plate. 17345 15 certification at the before the time of delivery the manufacturer cargo tank motor vehicle must provide the certification document on the cargo tank motor vehicle registration number, the manufacturer, the design, and certification with the registered instruction as appropriate must appear on the certificate for subpart F, the 107, the subpart A, the shaft manufacturer of the cargo tank motor vehicle will made any of these specifications must be provided for each design type of the certification signed by a reasonable official with the manufacturer design certification engineer certificating the cargo tank motor vehicle design meet the applicable specification for each ASME cargo tank manufacturer data report required in section 8 of the for each of the cargo tank motor vehicle certificate signed by the reasonable official for the manufacturer registered inspection certifying when the cargo tank motor vehicle is construction testing complete with the applicable specimen manufacturer of the variable specification cargo tank motor vehicle must be provided for each of the design certificate reasonable official for the manufacturer design certification engineer certificate with the cargo tank motor vehicle design to the specifications. For each variable specification of the car tank motor vehicle certificate, sign of the reasonable official with the manufacturer registered inspection certifying the car tank motor vehicle is constructed, testing, believe with the performance of the Apple specification. Certification must be include all the information required marked on the variable specification. In the case of the car tank motor vehicle, the manufacturer two or more of the stages of each of the manufacturer who performs the manufacturer operation and complete with the vehicle or portion there shall be provided with the manufacturer before the time of delivery, certifying the covering with the particular operation performed. The manufacturer included the certificate received of the previous manufacturer with the registered inspector for certifying engineer. The certification must indicate the portion of the complete cargo tank motor vehicle to represent thereby such for that as basic cargo fabrication, installation, jacket, or piping. Final manufacturer shall provide all applicable certificates to the owner. Specification shortages if the car taken to the manufacturer but it does not meet with all the applicable specification requirements, thereby requiring subsequent manufacturer involving the installation of additional component of the parts of the appurtenancies accessory for the car taken manufacturer may fix the nameplate specification plan is required in 178.345.14 B and C without the original date of the certification stamp on the specification of the manufacturer shall state that the specification requirements not only comply with the manufacturer certificate of the compliance when the car tank is brought within full compliance with the applicable specification. The registered inspector shall stamp the date of the compliance with the specification plate with the registered inspector issue certificate of compliance stating the detail of the particular operation performed with the car tank with the date of the person manufacturer carried with the repair organization accomplishing the compliance. 178.346 specification .406 car tank motor vehicle 178.346.1 general requirements. Each specification .406 car tank motor vehicle made for the general design construction requirements of 178.345 and in addition with the specification required in this section, the maximum allowed working pressure of the car tank not lower than 2.65 psi gauge, no higher than 4 psi gauge vacuum loaded car tank must be constructed with the specification. Each car tank must be constructed within accordance with the section 8 of the ASME code, except as modified herein. The record keeping was contained in the ASME code section 8 do not apply with the parts UG 990 and through 94 with the section 8 that do not apply with the inspection certification must be made with the inspector registered in accordance with subpart F. Port 107 loading must be prescribed in the 178.345.3. The knuckle radius of the flange head must be at least 3 times the material thickness and no case for the less than half inch for the stuff in the heads that attached to the shovel to fill it well with the knuckle radius of the disc radius versus the diameter limitation of the UG 32 that do not apply. All shelf sections car tank is designed with an uncircular cross section. You need to be given the preliminary curvature for the prescribed in the UG 79. Making certification date that reports nameplate with and it must be prescribed 178.345.14.15. Manhole closures assembly must be conformed with 178.345.5 and 346.5. Personal leaf device must be prescribed in 178.346.3. Hydrostatic pneumatic testing must be prescribed in 346.5. Following paragraphs are part of the UG and UW section 8 of the ASME code do not apply to UG 11 and 12, the UG 22, G 32, E 34, 35, 44, 76, 77, 80. 81, 96, 97, and UW 34, UW 13B2 and UW 13.1 F of the quantum figure of UW 13.1. Alright, single full fillet lap joints with one without plug welds may be used in arc the gas weld with the longitudinal seams without radiographic examination under the following conditions. The truck mount with a car tank no more than 2 such junctions used on the top half of the tank. No more than 2 joints may be on the bottom half. They may not be located farther than the top of the bottom center line with 16% of the circumference. For self-supporting car tank, no more than 2 such joints may be used at the top of the tank. They may be not located far after the top of the center line. 12.5% of the shell circumference or compliance testing. 2 specimens of the material to be used in the manufacture of the car tank must be tested and fitted with the intention of the testing specimen must be the same with the technique configuration of the car tank joined by the same welding procedure. The testing specimen may resemble the tank made from the same materials of the welded in the procedure the same joint configuration made with the same facility within 6 months after the testing complete before the welding of the test to fit up with joints for the testing specimen must represent the production condition of the wood result with at least joint strength and evidence of joint fit up and test result must be retained with the manufacturing facility. Welding joint efficiency lower valve of the strength of the valve of the tank with the total tensile test with the compute with the efficiency of the joint is probably determine the failure with the dividing strength of the failure with the mechanical properties of the adjacent material. Adjacent metal with the multiply with the 0.75 and design welded joint efficiency. Requirements of paragraph UW9D in section A. The ASME code do not apply. Use 178.346 2 material and thickness of the material with the material .406 specification car tank must conform with 178.345 2. The no more cave at the main of the thickness is determine the minimum thickness requirements of 178.320A. Following tables 1 to identify the specified minimum thickness value with employed with determination, and then show that 178, 346, with pressure relief valve. Each cargo must equip with the pressure relief system in accordance with 178, 345, 10 with the section type of the construction and for the pressure relief device prescribed in requiring 178, 345, 10 with the cargo tank must be equipped with one more vacuum relief device with intent to use only the landing of the median requirements 173, 173, C1, 3 with the subshaft of the cargo tank with a nominal vent with the suspension must have the opening to the left and 1 psi gauge must be designed to prevent the landing through the device in case the vehicle is upset. And that was the requirements of 178, 345, 10B with the August 13th, 1996. Under the pressure relief, it must be able to withstand the dynamic pressures over the reaching 30 psi gauge above the design set pressure sustained above the set pressure release of the 60 millisecond of the total volume liquid release, and exceeding 1 liter before the relief of the closure leak tight condition. With the requirements must be regardless of the vehicle orientation capable of demonstrated by testing TTMA RP90 number 81 cited as 178 345 10B31 as a acceptable test pressure setting of the relief valve 1 not the requirements of 178 345 10D. So pressure of the primary relief valve not be less than 110% of the maximum allowable work pressure, 3.3 psi gauge, which is greater not more than 138 psi of the maximum allowable working pressure. Valve must close and no left the maximum allowing work pressure remain closed. Lower pressure each vacuum relief device must be set open to no more than 6 ounces of the vacuum. Venting capacity is notwithstanding the requirements of 178 345 10E and G. The primary pressure of the relief must be venting the capacity of the 6,000 SCFH is rated not with a greater than 125% of the tank pressure and not greater than 3 psi above maximum allowable working pressure. The venting capacity of the required 178 345 10E may be debated with the same pressure for the vacuum relief system must be have sufficient capacity with the limit of the vacuum 1 psi pressure. Loading and unloading devices provided with the relief systems have the adequate vapor liquid capacity limit the tank pressure for the cargo tank of the tank pressure for the maximum loading and unloading rate. With the maximum loading and unloading rates must be included with the metal specification plate. 178 346 4 outlets. All outlets should be for the tank conform with 178 345 11. And this section of the external self-closing stop valve is not authorized alternative with the internal self-closing stop valve loading and unloading outlets. 178 346 5. Unpressure leakage of each cargo tank must be tested in accordance with 178 345 13. With this section pressure must be its valve. Even the hydrostatic test pressure must be greater than 5 psi or 1.52, 1.5 times the cargo maximum cargo tank maximum allowable working pressure. Pneumatic test pressure greater than 5 psi or 1.5 times the cargo tank maximum allowable working pressure. The inspection pressure must be cargo tank maximum allowable working pressure. Leakage check of the cargo tank. Even the transportation petroleum distillated fuel with the equipment of the vapor with the equipment leakage will have to according to Title 40 CFR 63.425E to set leakage testing of the test specified in Title 40 63.425E1 must be conducted using air hydrostatic testing alternative permanent with Appendix A of the Title 40 CFR Part 69 for the 27 H of the vapor type of the gasoline delivery tank. Even the pressure vacuum system may even satisfy the leakage test requirements of the paragraph. The cargo tank tested according to Title 40 CFR 63.425E may be marked as specified 100 Statute 180.415 of the chapter. 178 347 specification .407 cargo tank motor vehicle. 178 347 1 general requirements. Each specification .407 cargo tank motor vehicle performed with general design construction requirements of 178 345. In addition, with the specification requirements containing the specification, either tank must be circular with a cross-section having maximum allowable working pressure at least 1 psi gauge. The cargo tank motor vehicle dealt with a specification within the maximum working pressure greater than 335 psi gauge on the cargo tank motor vehicle built with the specification designed to be low with the vacuum construct with the certified according to the section 8 of the ASME code. The external design of the pressure for the cargo tank low with the vacuum must be at least 2 psi. Cargo tank motor vehicle built with the specification with the maximum working pressure 35 psi or less of the cargo tank vehicle built with the special design with the same with the vacuum full vacuum and equipped with the low with the vacuum must be constructed in accordance with the section 8 of the ASME code. Record keeping requirements contained in section 8 of the ASME code do not apply with the inspection requirements part of the UG 90 through 94 do not apply with the inspection certification must be made in the inspector register in accordance with subpart F 107. Loading must be prescribed 178 345 3. The knuckle radius of the flange head must be at least 3 times the middle material thickness. In some cases, less than half inch of the stuff and head the head half the shell with the fill with the knuckle radius of the dash with the radius varies diameter limitation of the UG 32 with the do not apply with the cargo tank motor vehicle with the maximum all working pressure 35 psi. Mark with the certification data reports nameplate and is prescribed 178 345 14 345 15 man closure. Some these must form with 178 344 7 3. Pressure relief device must be prescribed 178 347 4. Hydrostatic active must be prescribed 178 347 5. On the following parts of UG UW section A of the ASCE code do not apply with UG 11 12 on 22G 20 32G 34 35 44 76 77 80, 81, 96, 97, UW12, UW13B2, UW13.1F, and the dimensional requirement figure in UW13.1. UW12 section 8 of the ASME could not apply with a welded seam bulkhead that has not been radiographically examined under the following conditions. The strength of the welded seam, assume that 0.85 of the strength of the bulkhead of the welded seam must be full penetration of the butt weld. No more than one seam might be used per bulk. The welding seam must be complete before forming the dish radius and knuckle radius of the client's test. Use specimen the detailed representatives of those being used in manufactured car tank bulkhead must be tested. And failure of attention from the test specimen must be same thing as the same welding distributed testing specimen representative all the thing the same with the facility within 6 months after the test complete with the before welding. If the fitted up joints of the test specimen represent the production condition of the wood result of least joint strength with it, and the evidence should not fit up to test result may be retained with the manufacturer facility at least 5 years. Acceptance of the criteria ratio of the actual tensing stress value of the actual tensile strength with adjacent material. All samples of the test lot must be greater than 0.85. Testing. Alright, we're still recording. 178, 347, 2 the material thickness of the material, the type of the material, that 407, the specification car tank must conform with 178, 345, 2, but no case for the thickness be less than the determined minimum thickness requirement to 178, 320A. Tables 1 and 2 to identify the specified minimum thickness value of the employed within the determination. And then show the 178, 347, 3 manhole assembly must conform with the 178, 345, 5, with except for the manhole assembly capable of withstanding the internal fluid pressure with 40 psi gauge chest pressure with the English ever the greater. 178, 347, 4 with the pressure relief device car tank with the pressure vacuum relief system. 178, 345, 10 with the section type of the construction mercury relief device not required with the car tank more equal to the design. Loaded vacuum in accordance with 178, 347, 1C with the built with the chain of the full vacuum. 178, 347, 1D. Pressure setting of the relief devices, unleaf valve with the setting of the pressure relief valve must be in accordance with 178, 345, 10D. Vacuum capacity of the vacuum of the release system must limit the vacuum to less than 80% of the design vacuum capability of the car tank. If the pressure of the loading with the unloading with the provided with the release system must be adequate vapor to liquid capacity and limit of the tank pressure, the car tank pressure of the maximum loading unloading rate with the maximum loading unloading rate must include the metal specification plate with 178, 347, and 5. The pressure leak test of each cargo tank must be tested in accordance with 178, 345, 13. With the section pressure test must be as followed. The hydrostatic method of the tested pressure must be at least 40 psi gauge, 1.5 times maximum hour in working pressure, whichever is greater. The pneumatic testing method of the tank pressure from the 40 psi gauge, 1/2 time the maximum working pressure, whichever the greater inspection bit pressure with maximum working pressure. 178, 348 specification .412 car tank motor vehicle. 178, 348, 1 general requirements. Each specification .412 of the car tank motor vehicle must conform to the general design construction requirements of 178, 345. In addition to the specification requirements section, maximum working pressure each the cargo must be at least 50 psi gauge, maximum working pressure of the each of the car tank design with the load and vacuum test must be 25 psi gauge internal, 15 psi gauge external. The car tank may have the maximum working pressure greater than 15 psi gauge must be circled cross section. Either the car tank have the maximum working pressure greater than 15 psi gauge construction certified by the Coleman section 8 of the ASME code, or maximum working pressure of 15 psi gauge or left of the construction in accordance with section 8 of the ASME code, except for the modified herein. The record keeping requirements contained in section 8 of the ASME code do not apply with the parts UG 90 through 94. With section 8 do not apply with the inspection certification must be made with the inspection registered in accordance with the subpart F of the part 107. Loadings must prescribe 178, 345, 3. The knuckle radius of the flange must be at least 3 times the material thickness. So case less than half an inch off the insert head, but may be half the shovel to fill with the weld, knuckle radius, dish radius versus diameter limitations. UG 32, but they do not apply with the cargo tank motor vehicle. The maximum allowable working pressure 15 psi gauge shovels connection with the cargo tank with the design with the non-circular cross sections needed to be given in preliminary curvature prescribed in UG 79B. With the marking certification data reports nameplates must be prescribed in 178. 345, 14, 15. Manhole closure assemblies conform 178, 345, 5. The pressure relief device must be prescribed 178, 348, 4. Hydrostatic pneumatic testing prescribed 178, 348, 5. Following prescribed paragraph of the UG, UW for section 8 with the ASME code do not apply with the UG 11, UG 12, UG 22G, and 32E with the U 34, 35, 44, 76. 77, 80, 81, 96, 97, UW13B2, UW13.1F, and the dimensional requirements of figure UW13.1. 178, 340, 8, 2, matte material thickness with the material type of the thickness material of the .412. The specification must conform with 178, 345, 2, and no case for the material thickness with the determined minimum thickness requirements 178, 328. With the following tables 1 and 2 would identify the specified minimum thickness that would be employed within the determination. And show for the table 1. And then is reserve 178-348-3. Pumps and piping, housing connection, all pumps and all piping, housing connection, car tank, motor vehicle to the Musket form 178-345-9, except with the U with the normal metallic valve with the connection authorized in .412 with the car tank. 178-348-4. Personal relief device. Each cargo must be equipped with a pressure vacuum relief system in accordance with 178-345-10 with the section type of the construction vacuum relief device not required by the car tank designed with the load by the vacuum or built with a withstand with a full vacuum pressure setting with a relief valve with a setting with a pressure relief device must accordance with 178-345-10 with the disc cover provided in paragraph D3 with the section vacuum capacity for the vacuum relief system must limit the vacuum to less than 80% of the vacuum capability of the car tank if the pressure of an unloading device are provided the pressure relief system must be adequate vapor the liquid capacity limited tank pressure for the cargo tank of the test pressure, maximum loading unloading rate. The maximum loading unloading rate must be included with the metal with the specification tanks cargo tank with the dedicated with the sort of the material with the corrosion material with the secondary hazard might have the total venting capacity less than required 178-345-10 E with the minimum total venting with the capacity for the cargo tank must be determined in accordance with the following formula for the U with the approximate values given in the formula acceptable. All right, and the formula. And then goes into 178-348-5. Pressure leakage of the cargo tank must be set for the corners 178-345. Fit 13 with the section pressure set for the test must be as well. With the hydrostatic method, the test pressure must be at least 1.5 times the maximum allowable working pressure. Pneumatic testing method, the testing pressure must be at least 1.5 times the maximum allowable working pressure, especially for the pneumatic tank with the maximum allowable working pressure. Alright, subpart K, specification packaging for class 7 radioactive materials.